So today we are going to discuss AWS Global Infrastructure. So global infrastructure means how should we divide the AWS services, like where the main server will be placed, where the data centers will be, based on what category will segregate the infrastructure that is provided. Okay, so first thing is that regions. The first thing is that AWS regions. So there are 33 launched regions are there in AWS. 33 launched regions. These regions are based on geographic area. Okay. Each with multiple availability zones. So regions are divided into availability zones, which is called AZ. It's capital A, capital Z, and AZ, availability zone. And there are 105 availability zones with plans for 21 more zones are coming up. That means very soon 21 more zones will be coming. Recently there are 105 availability zones are available. So first is geographic wise we will segregate the services which are called AWS regions, global regions. Like Asia Pacific is one of the regions. So in Asia Pacific there will be many availability zones. We'll see that. Okay. So regions geographically, and availability zones is based on the many things that we are going to discuss. So each availability zones will be at least 10 to 100 kilometers separated. Okay. So the AWS global infrastructure comprises of AWS regions and availability zones. Each regions are separated geographic areas. Regions consist of multiple physical, separated and isolated availability zones. That means if some availability zones is there, let's say AZ1 and AZ2, they should be separated by 10 to 100 kilometers, such that actually as AWS service is never a failure services. You cannot expect that as AWS completely will be failed. So there is no single point failure for AWS. So data may be copied from one availability zone to another availability zone. If something happened like flood and earthquake and all, another availability zone will be activated. So these availability zones are with low latency. That means one availability zones to another availability zones connection will be very fast, low latency time. Okay, high throughput. What is throughput? Second thing is that isolation. Isolation is important. Isolation, just now I said, availability zone 1, availability zone 2, they should be isolated. That means each of the availability zone activity should not hamper the other one. That is, so isolation terminology is important. You can ask, sir, why it is isolated? Isolated because if one availability zone something happened, others should not be affected. So that, okay. Now here you can see that regions wise if you go, in India we have regions. One is Mumbai regions is there, very popular, and Mumbai regions. In fact, I mean it's the older one. Another region in India is Hyderabad region. These two regions are there. Another, these are also availability zones. Mumbai and Mumbai both are regions. Okay. So it comes under Asia Pacific regions, and Mumbai and Hyderabad both are availability zones also. That means there is some connectivity between Mumbai and Hyderabad. Okay. So AWS AZ is one or more discrete data centers. Redundant power. Each availability zones will be having, like Mumbai there is an availability zone, so it will be having redundant power. Anybody can say what is the usefulness of redundant power? Plenty, ample amount of power. Power in terms of processors, in terms of storage, in terms of network, so that if any failure happens, it will not be affected. Redundant, ample amount of power and all these things. Networking also similar, plenty of networking stuff will be there. If one fiber optic cable fails, other fiber optic cables will be activated. And then connectivity in all AWS regions. Okay. Availability zones gives customer the ability to operate productions, applications, databases that are more highly available, fault tolerant. Because of this highly plenty amount of redundant power, ample amount of networking activity, for this it is fault tolerant. Fault tolerant means, you know what is fault tolerant? System is never getting in the stop mode. It is fault or anything happens, it will survive. And scalable also. Scalable means you can increase the processing power, it can decrease the processing power as per as your need, it will happen. So scalability is there, fault tolerant is available, 24 hours is available, okay. Redundant amount of power, everything is there in the availability zones, also in the regions, okay. So these are all interesting things. So this is one of the regions. So there is Asia Pacific regions, then there are other regions also. US East Ohio region is there. So you can see here, I think is it visible? Hyderabad launched in 2022 and Mumbai is launched in 2016. Hyderabad has availability zone, 3 availability zones are there in the Hyderabad regions, and Mumbai regions there are also 3 availability zones are there. Okay? So availability zones and regions are clear. Regions are the bigger thing. Availability zones you can say little bit segregated and make the regions are segregated in availability zones. Afterwards we will be having so this is how it looks like. See the diagram. This is the regions, main regions. It can be divided into availability zones. Right, friends? Zone A, Zone B, Zone C. Each availability zones will be having data centers. Data centers. So what is data centers? Data centers comprises of racks, and racks are comprises of servers. How many servers could be there in a data centers? Around 50,000 to 80,000 servers. 80,000 servers should be there in a data centers. So you can imagine one data center how much powerful it is. Okay, I think each availability zone maximally can be having 3 data centers. Maximally 3 data centers is possible. So these are very tricky numbers. I am telling you, it will be asked in the questions. Even if you are writing cloud foundation course, such kind of question they will be asked. Maximally each availability zone can have how many data centers? Okay, multiple physically separated and isolated availability zones that are connected with low latency, high throughput and highly redundant networking. Redundant networking is important because if nothing can fail in that case, okay. And availability zones consist of one or more discrete data centers, each with redundant power. Minimal 1 data centers will be there, maximally I think 3. Yes, students, next. So important points. Each region can have typically 3 or more availability zones, which is in short called AZ. First interesting point. Second one, an availability zones is one or more discrete data centers with independent and redundant power infrastructure. Networking, this already I told you. One data centers can have 50K servers. 50,000 servers should be there, or maximally it can go up to 70K servers. Last bench I'll ask you a question, wait. Your turn will come. 50,000 servers and 80,000 servers, okay? One data centers. Availability zones are connected to 10 to 100 kilometers. They should be separated, each availability zone. Important point. How many total availability zones are there in the world? Globally, 33 launched. How many total number of, regions? Totally 33 regions, and total number of availability zones is 105. So now you understood, first it is regions, First it is region, then we have availability zones, third we have data centers, fourth we have edge locations. Edge locations. So clear or not? Similar thing is this edge location. Edge location also similar. So what is edge location? Let us understand. So AWS provides various networking and content delivery service, which is in short called CDN, content delivery network. Service means you can call it by content delivery network, CDN. Using that, it gives service for content delivery services. What kind of service? Services can be of websites, video files, and it has to send quickly from the user, server to user. The quick connectivity should be there. Let's say you are choosing a regions of Ohio region that now I showed you, Ohio, that is in US, and you want to launch some application there in US. So what you will do? You will the data, and you are in India, so data latency will be high. So that you want something to be nearby this Ohio region, some edge locations where you can every time communicate, so that your communication becomes very faster. Okay, so that is what. So which are the files it can send? It can send website, videos, application, software, everything, software updates. That is being done using edge location, bit like cache. So it is also called edge cache. Similar concept in cache memory. Okay, every time most frequently happening instructions are there in the cache memory. That is what edge locations also same thing. Nearby edge locations will be picked up so that your communication become faster. You may be far away from the actual server. Okay, so that is what the edge location does. Using what? Using this CloudFront services. This is CloudFront security related service, which is there in the Amazon Web Service, Amazon Global Accelerator, and Amazon Route 53. So these three components, three services are related to networking and security. Very important point. Network and security related, these three services are there. Using these services, these edge locations, or you can call it edge networking services, they provide this thing. Okay. So to keep your data safe within the AWS global network, away from the risk of the open internet. Okay. So encryption, so it encrypting the data, reducing network hops, and controlling access help protect against attacks. Clear, students, how it looks like? This looks like this only. So this is the CloudFront. CloudFront service already I told you. CloudFront, this one. Okay. Using CloudFront service, you can see that how the communication is happening. So it is the original server. User is here. So in this regional cache, the important files are getting stored and communication become faster. Global infrastructure to stop attacks. So what kind of attack it could be? Attacks it prevents. First is distributed denial of service attack. Distributed denial of service. Let's say you have a website, example.com, and this is your business website. Okay. Now what this attacker does, it sends so many requests here, so many unnecessary requests, and it kind of a attack only it does to the website, so that the actual buyer who wants to buy something from your site, he won't get the this website freely available. So he'll be redirected to somewhere else. Okay, this thing is called DOS, denial of service. That means example.com is your website, but you are getting denied by some other attackers who are attacking your sites and overwhelming the website, so that you are not getting, the genuine customer is not able to access. So basically, if you want to like the definition, it is attacks unavailable by overwhelming it is with flood and internet traffic. So these are, you can call it flood of internet traffic will be so much. Intentionally it will be created, very old one. This one is called denial of service attack. When this denial of service attack happens in the distributed systems, then it is called distributed denial of service attack. Clear, students? So this edge location saves your global infrastructure from, first one is DDoS. Okay. Second one is called very well-known attack, which is called man in the middle. Man in the middle attack. Man in the middle, any ideas, students? Man in the middle. So you have sending message, and receiver is receiving message. So whatever public key and private key, using both of them, they are doing these communications. Normal communication is happening using cryptographic algorithm, encryption and decryption, both side happening. Now if it is the case, then this is sender S, this is receiver R. If some third person comes in between, who is called adversary, and let's call him Darth. What he will do, he will send some message here, he will catch up this message here, he will catch sender's message. Let's say Alice is the sender and Bob is the receiver. So Alice's message, he or she will collect that message, and then he will what do you call, alter the message. Sorry, alter, ALTER, alter the message and something else he will say. Let's say message is XA. He will collect it and he will make it X. This is Darth row, so AD, and he will send here to Bob XAD. It will be looking exactly same like XA. Okay, and similarly when Darth will communicate with Alice, same thing will happen. He will again collect, he will send something else. So this attack is called man in the middle attack. Very popular one and old one. Man in the middle. And the third one is very simple, data breach. Data breaching means or data leaks. Data breaching concept, which is unauthorized access to the system. You can write in unauthorized access to the system. And the fourth one is intrusion, network intrusion, call it network intrusion. So there are network intrusion detection systems are in place. In fact, I published one paper long back when you guys are school. 2017, one of the paper I published, intrusion detection system using machine learning. You can check it. It has got around 200 citations. So intrusion detection system, which in short is called IDS. So you can write intrusion detection, you can write code to prevent the intrusion, that will be called intrusion detection system. So intrusion means what? It is in a system in the local, like let's say in this campus itself, in the lab itself, intrusion comes, intruder comes and steal the information. Okay, so that is called intrusion, network intrusion. These four type of attacks being stopped by this edge location concept. Which are the services? CloudFront, just now I showed you, right? CloudFront, Global Accelerator. So this 53, I think, Route 53. Okay. Clear, students? Edge locations. How do edge location differs from edge AWS regions? Edge location strategically positions point in AWS network, optimized for low latency, content delivery, ensuring data reaches users swiftly. In contrast, AWS regions are larger geographic areas with multiple availability zones. Okay, so edge location is very, very important. And in fact, you can analyze this diagram also. This diagram, edge locations. Okay, CloudFront is the major service which provides this concept. Next is AWS data centers. Next hierarchy, data centers. First it is regions, second it is availability zones, third it is edge location, fourth one data centers. So data centers what? Data centers are designed for security and reliability. They are distributed across regions and availability zones with high availability and fault tolerant. Each data center is built with independent power, cooling and physical. So data centers looks like this. This is the data center. So these fellows are called racks. These are racks. Combination of servers. Combination of server racks. Combination of racks are nothing but data centers. So this is Amazon data center. So a lot of area it requires, cooling facility should be there. Okay. So data centers across several machines for disaster recovery, it is important. Data centers. Temperature control facility should be there because a lot of processes are working, they may be heated up. So to cool them down, you need temperature control facility, easier implementation of security measures and compliance with the data laws. Next is network architecture. Network architecture also you can segregate the AWS services network wise. So here you see in Amazon, if you want to make a small applications in AWS, so you can do it using network architecture, and that the main thing is called virtual private. Something about small applications within this small campus and all, your own private network you want to make. So for that you have to make VPC. which is called virtual private cloud. First, anything related to network you want to do, you have to create a VPC, virtual private cloud. In VPC you have buckets and all that we will see later on, buckets. Virtual private cloud is important. Why? Because first of all, what is virtual private cloud? Closely resembles a traditional network that you had operated in your own data centers, and these virtual private clouds create the subnets. So IP address can be of classless, classful, those things are there in the network. I'm not going in, like one IP address maybe 192.168.22, this is one IP address. So usually 4 quadrants are there. So there are classless and classful IP addresses are there. So from this IP address, you have to assign one particular system, one IP address, another particular system, another IP address, another particular system, another IP address. Each of them will be having unique IP address. That will be done by the subnetting. Because using VPC, you are going to create a subnet on which you will be doing the application and all. For that you need subnet concept. Subnet. So a subnet is a range IP address in which in your VPC a subnet must reserve a single availability zone. After you add subnets, you can deploy AWS resources on your VPC. That means once you make VPC, you need a subnet. These subnets are nothing but combination of multiple IP addresses. And then finally, security and compliance is also there. Comprehensive suite and security services and features to help ensure data. This is also available. Okay. So security wise also you can segregate this AWS service. So many things we discussed, right? So the benefit is low latency, global reach, extensive global footprints allows customer to deploy applications closer to the end user.